Hey folks. Well, Zoe has moved. She's moved about 170 feet to the southeast from her last location behind the house. She's still within sight of the house. It's just up the hill there. Probably 150 feet away or so. And take a look at where she is. So I'm sitting here on the forest floor beside an old log. And on the other side of the log, there's Zoe. And it's interesting how she's resting under the leaves. The nights are still a little bit cool, in the high 40s, low 50s. So she's buried herself up a little bit to provide a little bit of protection from the cool nights. Now today was relatively warm. It was mid-70s. And she's on the move. I believe she's heading towards the other side of the mountain and the waterfall area where she spent last summer. And we'll keep track of her this year and see if in fact that's where she goes again. Now, in about a week or so, we're going to have to catch Zoe and replace her transmitter because its battery is almost exhausted. So we'll be sure to show you how that's done and take you through the process. And then follow Zoe for another 2 years. So let's go find Utsanati. Now that we know where Zoe is, we can leave her alone. But before we leave Zoe alone, I just want you folks out there watching to see that and understand that the entire time I have been sitting here filming Zoe, talking about her, collecting my data, she has not moved. She knows I'm here, but she's not moved. She's terrified of me. And I'm going to let her believe that her camouflage and her lack of motion has worked and that I've not seen her. And I'm going to let her know that by leaving without disturbing her. So hopefully this shows you that these rattlesnakes are not an animal to be afraid of. Not an animal to fear and kill every time you see it, and then brag about it, like so many TV shows would have you believe that these are big, scary creatures that, try to kill you, try to come for you, try to attack you. They have some form of malice towards humans, but they don't. They're harmless towards humans unless you make a mistake and you step on one, or try to harm it, or try to catch it, or pick it up. So don't make those mistakes and let the rattlesnakes live. Let all snakes live, because they're very important parts of a healthy ecosystem. Without all animals working together to keep nature in a balance, bad things happen. Plagues, sickness, death, disease, in no particular order. So let them live. All creatures have a purpose and a reason for being, even rattlesnakes. So let's go find Utsanati. Well, the battery on my HD camcorder died. So now we're using the old flip phone. But at least I do have a camera. There he is. Just sitting on the surface of the leaf litter, out in the open. He may be hunting or maybe basking. There's a little bit of sunlight getting through in this area during the middle part of the day. He looks like he may have recently fed. Don't know if you can see that, but he looks pretty thick around the stomach area. I would say maybe a squirrel or a chipmunk. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not, but on the top of Utsanati's head, there is a red mite. And that's the same type of mite that we saw last year on the rattle of Zoe. And I believe that mite is probably preying on Utsanati by sucking his blood. And of course, maybe it's a hitchhiker trying to make its way from one area to another on a much faster animal. Or both. Sorry about the low quality of the video, but if I'd planned better and my battery was charged, it wouldn't be so bad, but at least we do get to see him. Now, just like with Zoe, we're going to have to catch Utsanati in about a week and replace his transmitter, because their transmitters were replaced at about the same time, so we need to replace them both now. We would not want to lose either of these snakes. I'd like to track them for at least 5 years. Well, 6, considering that the transmitters last 2 years each. So I'd like to track them for 6 years or so and learn as much as I can about the movement of a wild timber rattlesnake. So let's leave Mr. Utsanati alone and make the trek back up the mountain. And until the next time, have a good night. So you would not believe what I had to go through to find this rattlesnake. He's traveled so far in just a little over a week, across through the power line access way that we know so well from last year, and then down this very steep mountainside through very thick laurels, rhododendrons, and just, it's so steep. I slipped and fell, slid down a hill, got covered in debris, leaf litter, sticks and twigs, but my gosh, it's such a beautiful place. And it just goes to show you where these snakes like to live is not places that most people like to go. So he's going to be protected out here unless people come out here, which they don't often. I don't see any litter out here, any trash. It's a beautiful mountainside. Hopefully it'll stay that way for a long time and give Utsanati a safe place.
The call of the open road, down on the open road. I wish I could have stayed, I wish I could have changed. But a rambling man is a rambling man by any other name, by any other name.